Well, hey, Salina.
Hey, Nikki.
Just going to pretend like we haven't been talking for the last hour off mic.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, everyone.
And we're also virtual, so
Yes, we are. And hello, everyone else, and welcome back to Sweet Tea and TV. So it's a very special day, Salina. You are in costume for this special episode.
at least partially, yes.
So I so boldly announced in our finale this season, I think actually you ended up announcing it, but I led us there, that our special episode was going to bridge us away from Carrie Bradshaw's New York City and into Stars Hollow with the Gilmore Girls. But before we get there, we have to go back in time to Audrey Hepburn's New York City. Is that making your brain hurt quite yet?
It's making my brain happy.
Oh, good. And that's because we're having breakfast at
Tiffany's.
Ooh.
I think I probably could have done that a little bit more excited, but
That's all
I'm
right.
sleepy.
Sleepy. You have your face mask on, your eyelash face mask. How do you describe it? Is eyelash face mask?
I mean, it's the one that she shows up to the door in when Paul comes to see her. Paul / whatever Fred. Yeah, whatever you prefer. George Papard, if you prefer that. And so. Yeah, there's those cute blue ones that have the eyeballs on the outside with the jewels, and then I also have the earplugs.
Do they work?
I would not take them on vacation.
Okay.
Yeah. To keep out the noise, they sort of block hearing the things that you need to hear. So
yeah.
but they're not great, but they are really cute, and they're the purple tassel ones. And I actually got this for a costume when my mother-in-law turned 60. They did so she was born in 1960, and they asked everybody to come dressed up in their whatever from the 60s.
Okay.
And so since, as I'm sure you'll get into, Breakfast at Tiffany's came out in 61, I dressed like that. It's also giving a little, oh my God, what's the Reese Witherspoon, Nicole Kidman show?
Oh, morning show.
No.
Sorry. Big
Little Lies. Thank you. Look at that. What a team.
I was thinking of Jennifer Aniston.
Yes. So they at the end of the first season, they all dressed like Audrey Hepburn characters. And so I think I still had that in my head. Reese Witherspoon does this, and she does the tux shirt. So I did that and dressed up like that. And so I just have these sitting in a drawer. So
you don't wear them every day.
No, I will wear them sometimes just because I do think they're kind of cute, but they're not, and they don't really block that much light either.
Yeah,
not like a
light.
Good ugly pair do,
Yeah, I have
they
a big
look
old
like a face bra.
I have a big old black one. It's padded just like a bra over my eyes.
That's right.
It blocks a lot of light.
Right, and I really actually cleaned up what I normally call those. So
oh, good.
Yeah. Nikki's like, what do you call them? You'll figure it out.
Now I'm curious. So back at the beginning of Sex and the City, and definitely in the Sex and the City book too, Carrie Bradshaw / Candace Bushnell declared their New York City era as, quote, the age of uninnocence, where no one has breakfast at Tiffany's and no one has affairs to remember. I think you might have openly sighed at that breakfast at Tiffany's reference when it came up in the very first Sex and the City episode, if I do remember. So that's given your love of all things Audrey Hepburn, given the outfit that you're currently wearing.
Right. Although I would just like to pop in and say it is kind of funny to think that Breakfast at Tiffany's is innocent.
So yes, I
mean, it is compared to what it would look like today.
Yeah. This was not an innocent movie at all. No. And it's not an innocent story, which we'll get into in a second. Yes. But yeah, that was to me, that's actually almost like I don't think anachronism is the right word, but it's almost like not the right metaphor, the right example. I don't know. The other thing that I realized so I was trying to kind of explain how we're bridging from Sex and the City to Breakfast at Tiffany's to Gilmore Girls. And so I was looking at all the places, my memory went straight to that reference to Breakfast at Tiffany's in the very first episode for Sex and the City. But the other thing that happens that I looked up today is that Big plays Moon River for Carrie in season 4, episode 18, I Heart New York.
Yes.
But you know what's wacky? She didn't know the song.
I have so many. Right. That's so weird to me.
But she writes about it in the very first episode. So
right.
I think someone made a oopsie.
Although it would track maybe that she hadn't seen it, kind of, but she would know about the shopping portion, which is Audrey Hepburn standing in front, or Holly Golightly standing in front of Tiffany's. Do you know? Like
while Moon River is playing.
That's right. Dressed in her finest wares and... Oh, wow. Yeah, but it's not the words.
That's true.
There's just the instrumental.
Yeah, maybe.
But yes, I agree. It's a plot hole.
But we also know that Lorelai and Rory Gilmore were really big fans of Hollywood and old Hollywood, and Breakfast at Tiffany's is referenced multiple times throughout the show. And then, of course, we at Sweet Tea and TV are really big into women in Hollywood, all things women in Hollywood. So it doesn't get much more Hollywood than Audrey Hepburn and Breakfast at Tiffany's. So there are all our connections. It is an airtight explanation of how we're going from Sex and the City to Stars Hollow via Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I think it's a beautiful bridge.
Thank you.
I think it was an inspired idea.
I like the hand motion that goes with it.
Yeah, it's very Italian.
So, to the surprise of no one, I had not seen Breakfast at Tiffany's. You can gasp, Salina. There you go. So if you're like me, maybe we should talk about basics real quick. So you already mentioned this. It was released in 1961. It follows Holly Golightly, a mysterious and charismatic lady played by Audrey Hepburn. Holly spends all of her days pretty much drifting from party to party in Manhattan. You get this sense that she's not very into emotional attachment to people. And she has this sort of vision of her future inspired by Tiffany and Company, which is a famous jewelry store. I feel like everybody knows that, but maybe they don't. Then she meets Paul Varjak, who she calls Fred. He is an aspiring writer played by George Papard. Is that how you said his last name?
Papard.
Oh, that's much better than what I would have said, which is Peppered.
Peppered?
He moves into her apartment building, and then they get closer and closer as the movie goes on, but also realizing that they are sort of having these messy realities underneath the existence that they're living. The movie was directed by Blake Edwards, and the supporting cast includes, I know some of these names. I don't know Patricia Neal. I think she plays the decorator.
Yeah. Oh, look at you. Yes, the decorator.
The decorator. I think he plays her, she plays his, what's the other word for it? Sugar mama.
Yes, that's good.
Buddy Ebsen and Mickey Rooney. Okay, so, and this comes up in my comments later. I knew the Rooney thing. I wasn't ready for the Rooney thing.
Yeah, it's wild.
His portrayal of Mr. Unioshi, who is her landlord or like the building manager, the super, I guess is what they call it. It's become one of the film's most criticized and uncomfortable elements.
Yeah, it's just bad. All around. Yeah.
Financially, the movie was considered a success. It was produced on a budget of around $2.5 million, but it earned over $14 million in the North American box office. It became one of the biggest hits of 1961. Of course, it becomes a really long-term cultural phenomenon. So Holly Golightly's black Givenchy dress, her oversized sunglasses, her cigarette holder, which you do not have today, which is a major disappointment.
I know, it is.
And then that
Somewhere
opening,
around here.
You'll find it and you'll send us a picture. And then that opening scene outside of Tiffany's, those are all sort of iconic things that really become tied to the image of classic sort of Hollywood glamour.
Yeah, it would be fun. So I didn't look up like the box office numbers or anything. Knowing how steep this is in pop culture, like that does sound like wildly low, even for like 1961 numbers.
Yeah.
I would be so fascinated, and there's no way to know, but like every time you see an Audrey Hepburn picture, I would say 8.5 out of 10 times it is a reference to Breakfast at Tiffany's.
That's correct.
She is in that Givenchy dress. She is like in the oversized sunnies. Like that is the image that is on. It's in IKEA. You can buy it from there. It is in every Marshall's. It is like it's just literally everywhere. And so I cannot imagine the amount of money that her image has pulled in. It's right up there with like Marilyn and the white dress.
Yes, that's right. I think that's fair. So the film also performed really well during award season. At the 34th Academy Awards, it received 5 nominations and won 2, Best Original Song for Moon River and Best Score. Moon River was written by Henry Mancini and Johnny Mercer, and it became one of the most recognizable movie songs ever recorded. Full disclosure, I know the song. I did not know this is the movie it was from. So even surprised me. I think I performed the song.
Trivia. You think you
in orchestra? I'm pretty sure I've performed this.
Yeah, probably.
Critically, the reviews at the time were generally positive. Audrey Hepburn's performance got a lot of great reviews. Critics consider it one of her best performances. The film's reputation, as you just said, like showing up culturally in all of these places, the reputation has gotten even larger over time. But modern audiences do tend to point out the complicated pieces of it, including the Mr. Yunioshi piece. So it can sometimes be both a beloved classic, but also a film that people don't look back on so kindly for certain dated pieces of it. The last thing I wanted to mention, just sort of in background of the movie, is that it was adapted from the 1958 novella Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote. We talked about Truman Capote. Was it during our Golden Girls coverage?
To Kill a Mockingbird. I actually looked it up.
Okay.
Because he was Harper Lee's childhood friend.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, because I had the same thing, and I had to go back through and do a little searching.
Okay.
So that is also our Designing Women connection. Just going back.
Okay.
To that. And the reason if that doesn't make sense to people, To Kill a Mockingbird was mentioned as a reference in a Designing Women episode. So you and I, in one of our better decision making phases, decided to do a whole movie review as an extra sugar one week. I look back at that and I was like, wild.
Why? Oh, it wasn't even a special episode.
No.
Uh-oh. Oh,
that
man.
season 5, you and I were like on another level, and it's probably my fault. Yeah.
Locked in. And we just did it. We just keep barreling forward.
Absolutely. Crazy.
Well, I really should have read the novella because it's only 90 pages long. If I still had that season 5 energy, I would have committed myself to doing it because I'm super curious. Everything I've read said that the film and the book are completely different in terms of tone. It feels very Sex and the City to me. We talked at length about how the Sex and the City book is so different from the show. So Capote's novella is sharper. It's a lot sadder. It's more cynical. Apparently, Holly is a very elusive and emotionally untethered character in a way that she doesn't come across in the film. I will say, and this may come up, I think you have a section on trivia later. This may come up, so I'm not going to reveal it here, but I will say Capote famously wanted another starlet to play Holly instead of Hepburn because she better captured the character's vulnerability and sensuality from the novella.
That is so thoughtful to not step on my trivia, Nikki.
I didn't want to.
Nice.
Obviously, the film does the same thing that Sex and the City did with the Sex and the City book, and it kind of softens those really sharp edges. It lightens up some of the darkness, ultimately becoming a film that people classify as a romantic comedy. I'm not sure I watched this movie that way, but it is certainly a Hollywood classic and beloved for a lot of people.
Yeah, maybe in the way that like The Materialist was last year. In fact,
I didn't see
those
that.
two have similar energy. Okay, well, it's Dakota Johnson and Chris Evans and, oh my God, the guy who's in literally everything now. And I'm like, he was in the Zombie Show and also,
not Norman.
He's very beautiful, little older, which means he's our age. He was also in Game of Thrones, and he was the one who I'm like all of my things that I want to say right now are very broad and unhelpful. I'm like, he got killed on Game of Thrones. I'm like, who didn't?
Pedro Pascal.
Thank you, Pedro Pascal. So, and if anybody who is listening is like, Pedro Pascal, which I understand. I've been there. Who among us hasn't shouted at a podcast? Anyways, like it is like gritty, and they were like trying to sell it as a romantic comedy, and it's like not happy, and a lot of sad things happen in that movie. I think it's interesting and worth a watch, but like, it's a similar energy, and also in New York City. So, anyways.
Well, but there's like a common thread here. If it happens in New York City, it can't be overly touchy-feely.
At the same time, can I also say, though, that, like, looking back at this and thinking about the 60s of it, like, it does feel very out of left. It is not Leave It to Beaver. I know I don't mean to go back to television, but, like, it isn't, like, I think there is something that's a little grittier, even in its polished, for 1961. I mean, like, because I think even, like, hinting at sex work or party girls or whatever you want to call it in 1961 feels like a little risque.
Yes. I definitely felt like this movie was a product of its time. It felt very 60s. It felt very like we are heading into the progressive Hollywood era, but we haven't fully left behind classic Hollywood. So it sort of bridges those two, which in some ways makes it feel, to me, a little disconnected. But we haven't moved into the watch party things yet. So
that's right. We're still on the plot summary.
But I'm done now, so we can go to watch party if you're ready.
Good. Well, you'd already said it, Nikki. I can't give first impressions because I think I first saw this movie when I was like 10. So I don't even remember when I first saw it, except for loving it. Like, I remember instantly thinking this was a great movie, but like, so not to reveal anything, but what were your first impressions? I mean, you can give 100 if you want, but I was thinking like somewhere between 1 and 3.
Okay. I have 3 first impressions to share.
Okay.
So I feel like sometimes I come in blazing with all the hot takes, and it's personal preference. We'll start there. It's always personal preference. And I understand that my personal preference doesn't always align with the majority of people in life. This was a really tough watch for me. This was really hard. I had to watch it over 4 days. I could only do it like 15 minutes at a time. I fell asleep 3 times watching it. The pacing is so weird. We spend so much time on really inconsequential things. There'll be these really quiet, lingering moments with like weird music playing. The party scene was something else. Like, there were multiple close-ups of people partying down. And I was just like, this party scene has lasted has it been 2 hours or has it only been 2 minutes? Because I feel like I've watched him crawl through someone's legs multiple times at this point.
It's going to come up in trivia as well.
Okay. It took about halfway through the movie before I felt anything approximating chemistry between Holly and Paul. And then like 2 minutes later, he's telling her he loves her. And like, I didn't feel that at all for like more than half of the movie. And then like the layer of the kept man and kept woman thing, for reasons that make sense, you just alluded to this. Like, it was pretty groundbreaking to have even alluded to this in the early 60s. But I was just like, what are we doing here? I don't even understand why did we make them kept men and women? Like, what is this even? I don't even understand what this is telling me. It was just a bizarre, and it felt like parts of it felt a little Beatles' Yellow Submarine. And this is where I say it feels like a product of its time. Like, it felt very hippie inspired.
All right, I'm asking a question. Were you multitasking while you were watching this movie?
I was not.
Okay.
I was not. I really promise I made an effort to watch it because I wanted to love it.
Yeah. So, the funny thing is like, Casey actually watched most of this with me, and I was surprised. And he seemed into it. Like, as into it as he's going to be for an old movie. Like, because that is not his vibe at all. He likes, like, sci-fi. And other things. But, like, if he's left to his own devices and I'm not around, we are in a post-apocalyptic world. Half of the people are dead, and now we're figuring out what to do. That is his vibe. Okay. So for him to have sat down and got through this, I was like, he hasn't even said anything. So either I'm being really scary right now in life, or he is like, I'm okay with this. Well, I'm sorry. I hate that this felt like a slog for you.
So the next piece that I will say is I do get the appeal of the fashion. I 100% understand why the iconography of this movie has outlasted so many other films. I think Holly's entire vibe was delightfully 60s and also somehow timeless. Like
Right.
everything, almost everything she wore, I'm like, I could see someone wearing that today and not feeling like, I wouldn't look at them and think like, oh, that's so tacky. It is very timeless.
I meant to look and see if like she invented the little black dress. I think this is
Where so Givenchy developed it, and he was styling her for several movies before this.
Yes.
And then for this movie, this was really the launch of the little black dress.
I think Sabrina is the first movie they worked on together.
Okay.
I am going to talk about the dress, but I didn't go into these details because whatever. Anyway, Sabrina is like also tops for me. It's like this Sabrina and Roman Holiday for me and her is just like I have so much Audrey Hepburn stuff. Like,
yeah,
she's always been a very important part of my life, which is weird because I think it's so weird when people do that, but like also I am just as guilty as doing it, and I don't know, there's just something about her that has always resonated with me.
her wardrobe was fantastic. Paul's wardrobe also was really fancy and very nice looking. So I get that piece of it. I mean, you just mentioned this was not one of my general reactions, but I'll add it because you just said it. I mean, she is very appealing in this movie. She has a delivery that is just so charming. She is definitely quirky in a way that you enjoy. It's not annoying quirky. It's like, in some ways, some of it's a little annoying, but it's charming. I get it.
Right.
My last general reaction, and I mentioned this at the top of the episode, I knew the Mickey Rooney thing was coming. This is something that has come up over time for me in just pop culture knowledge. I knew it was coming. I knew it. It's still, I could not have been prepared for it. And I'm like, whose idea was this?
So
Whose
bad.
idea was this? Why did we do this?
I know. I'm wondering. I bet you that character wasn't even in the book.
Probably not.
Right. They were like, here's a good addition.
Yeah.
I don't know that for sure. And I should have probably looked into that, but
Well, so I'll say on the book, I don't think I have this anywhere else. She was 19 in the book. So she was really young.
Okay.
She was much more of a vulnerable survivor in the book than she is presented here. And it's told from the perspective of Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's told from the perspective of Paul. So I don't know where the super would have fit in.
Right.
But maybe he's there.
Interesting. I do kind of want to read it now.
Yeah, it's only 90 pages.
Okay.
So it's doable.
Yeah, I can read 90 pages probably over about 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I like to do it. 3 pages and then I'm asleep is kind of my mode these days, but I'm trying. So for our next section, I was hoping we could talk about our most memorable moments. I'm not, I asked that we tried to keep it to 5, but whatever. It doesn't matter. More, less, whatever.
I have 4.
You have 4. Why don't you kick us off?
So, I mean, obviously for me, that opening scene where she's getting out of the taxi, her body language sort of sets you up for this character that you're about to experience. She looks a little tired, a little, it's just becoming morning. So it's very clear she's been out for a long night. She's very fancily dressed. So something happened. And then she just heads over to stand at Tiffany's and she eats her croissant and has her coffee and she's just standing there and you can just tell you're in for kind of a complicated story.
Yeah. It's so hard for me because like I can't, and it is interesting to think like even us talking about the content of this movie being not necessarily like G or PG even really. Like I didn't even think to tell you like maybe don't watch this with your kids unless you want to explain what a party girl is. Like it didn't even occur.
You know what? I don't think I was just having this conversation with someone recently. They would never have known.
Exactly. And that's what I was thinking is you're like, I could tell she's been out for all night. I'm like, well, I don't know, because her shoes are still on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, she looks very well done. Like, maybe she looks tired. But like, maybe it's also the movie shooting schedule, which is like crazy. But like, because I had the same first memorable moment from the movie, and just thinking about back to a kid, I'm like, this is just a fancy lady doing fancy things in front of a fancy place, and like there are aspects of this movie that, looking back now, I'm like, oh, her apartment is like there's nothing in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I see that now as things I could not see as a kid.
Sure.
So it's definitely interesting to kind of have that juxtaposition between the two. But yeah, that shot, that face, that dress. I mean, Moon River playing in the background, just the instrumental version.
Just the instrumental.
I'm like, I teared up.
Mm.
And it's not, and I think for me, it's just pure nostalgia. I'm riding a nostalgia wave when I watch this movie.
I get that.
And there's something about her. I don't know what it is, but it just always catches me right in the feels.
I thought it was a very beautiful opening, and it really gave me high hopes for the movie, that I would enjoy it. I do think it's a huge missed opportunity that we didn't circle back to that like scene and that visual at the end of the movie. I was expecting some sort of full circle moment, and it didn't happen.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I like that idea. What is your next most memorable moment?
The scene where Holly was playing Moon River on the fire escape, that was lovely. That was just a really, to this point, we've seen that party girl persona. And I can't remember. I think this was pre-Lula May, too. Mm-hmm. We hadn't gotten the Lula May reveal yet. So you don't really know who this person is at this point. And when she's sitting there singing that song, there's something so like calm and like homely about it, or homey maybe is the better word. I don't, just something that feels like she's more simple than this New York life that she's been living, even if she doesn't want to admit that she's more simple than that.
Well, I'm having this realization in the moment, but isn't she like in pigtails and has like a plaid shirt on? It's very like they're hinty, and not subtle. But I've not even really thought about that, because I'm just like,
she has like a bandana over her hair. She looks very country.
Yes, I cry every time I see this part of the movie.
It's very pretty.
It is so dreamy. She is so wistful is the word that came to mind for me this last time when I was watching it. And the way that, and we're going to have a whole section where we're going to talk about their chemistry, okay? But the way he looks at her while she's doing this is pretty spectacular. Mm-hmm. I actually think when they're not near each other might be when their chemistry is the strongest.
Yeah, that's probably true.
You put that together however you want. It sort of supports your argument. So there's that. But yes, that's my number 3. My second most iconic moment it's the party at Holly's. Oh. I definitely hear you. But I think for me too, like first of all, to your point, I forgot how long it was. I haven't seen this movie in years.
It's so long.
I forgot how next level it is. I wrote down some standouts. You've got the woman laughing at her own reflection in the mirror. Then it cuts back later and she's crying. I just want to be very clear. This is a real party energy. This is a thing that happens when you are at a party where there are a lot of substances and champagne or whatever drinks flowing. I mean, it is real. So there's something that is, and we'll get to that in trivia while maybe this contributed to that. But it's interesting. Holly lights a woman's hat on fire with her cigarette, but then also puts it out after unintentionally dumping a drink on the woman's head, like checking a guy's watch or something. Only Fred sees everything go down. And it's so hectic and chaotic in the apartment that he can't get there in time. And I'm going to tell you that this one was giving Aunt Bethany from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation energy. I even said it to Casey, and he was like, I was like, what's the aunt's name? And he was, and like, we had to look it up. Yeah. And I was like, I can hear the old guy saying it, but I can't remember it. But anyways, like there was something so in that vein to me, and then like the array of ages and like everything that was in there, like every like different type of person that was in there, like didn't make any sense really. Like the variety.
Yep.
And let's be clear, in some ways there wasn't any variety, but still there was all this variety. Someone checks the time from a watch on a woman's ankle. I don't know why, but that just really popped out to me this time. Because you're like, but why is there a watch on it? What's happening? Why has that been there? Maybe someone put that there so later on they would be able to check. I had a lot of questions. And then Mag Wildwood. So this is a character that is in the book as well. But this is the big, tall woman who comes in. She's quite tall.
I love that that's how you describe her.
Have you ever seen The Rescuers?
The Rescuers.
With the Disney movie?
Yeah.
If the villainess from that movie is not based on that woman, you could... They look and have the exact same energy. It's like Cruella de Vil energy where they're like, hello, darling. And they just like come in and like, they're like a little half drunk all the time. I don't know. Anyways, so there's something about her like coming in. And this is also that real party energy, to be clear, because they come in, they're like in a good mood, but then they get even drunker and they get a little mean. This also happens to her. And then I don't think it was nice that nobody caught her. They just yelled timber and let that poor lady fall on the ground.
No, they didn't yell timber.
That's
Holly
right.
yelled timber.
Holly did. Yes. Well, you said it, Nikki. She's not nice. It's known from the book.
She is not.
So that was my most that was what your mileage might vary on whether you like the party or not, but it is certainly memorable.
It was so bizarre. It was so bizarre.
Nikki's favorite part.
It went on so long.
I loved it. I don't remember liking it being younger, but there's something about now and like just having like a lot of life under my belt that I was like, this is pretty real.
So I think I could see you having that reaction now. I think it's a tough needle to thread to have a 60s inspired psychedelic sort of wackiness happening without being able to say all of these people are on some legitimate substances. Because some of the things that were happening, that doesn't happen with alcohol. That happens with alcohol plus. Do you know what I mean? And so they weren't able to say that. So it just felt unfinished. Yeah. And then it just felt random. And so much of it felt random and frenetic. And I'm just not in a place where random and frenetic feels good to me. So yeah, and it just went on for so long. That one I had to bridge over 2 watches. I finally had to just be like, I can't do any more of this.
That's so funny. Yeah, and there's actually, except for like the rusty trawler, like Brazilian guy who comes back into play, I mean, there's really no other like plot movement. Yeah.
No, and the
I guess we learn about Holly a little bit from her, whoever the guy is.
A Hollywood agent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we get like that she is not exactly who she says she is. Like it's still not very clear until we get a little further.
Yeah, and I think that's probably my biggest. I just felt like there was so much missing from the movie. Like I feel like there was so much opportunity for exposition, but instead we spent a lot of time watching that lady cry in a mirror. Or like, you know what I mean?
Right. It was 4 seconds, Nikki. Calm down.
And then the checking of the watch on the ankle. Don't forget that one.
Yeah.
Then we get to spend a lot of time with Mickey Rooney yelling very offensively.
I think this is probably our biggest feedback to everything we ever watch, are just choices, right?
Yeah.
Like much like life, movies and TV shows are a series of choices, and sometimes you reflect back and go, was that the best way to spend time? I ask myself that 5 days a week.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, tough needle to thread, right? There was only so much that they could put outright like that, especially. It's very similar to maybe a little bit of Pretty Woman in a sense. Like there's only so much they're actually going to say out loud, or they lose a significant portion of an audience.
That's true.
Dirty Dancing. This is the movie I was having this conversation about this week. My grandmother, my very religious grandmother, sent me that VHS for my 7th birthday. Right. And it became one of my favorite movies. And I was 17 years old before I realized that there was an abortion happening in that movie because of the way they sort of gloss over all of that.
Oh, Yeah.
So I think that's just sometimes the choices they have to make something box office.
What a great
friendly.
comp, because it was also the 60s. Not
Right.
made in the 60s,
Right.
but it was timed in the 60s.
Yeah.
So other memorable moments for you? This will be your last, maybe?
I have two more.
Two more,
The
okay.
scene where Holly learns about losing her brother.
Mm.
That was one of the few moments in the movie where I found myself actually caring about what was going on with Holly. I didn't find Holly to be a particularly likable character, which I think we'll talk about in a little while. This one really broke me. I really felt for her. I think she had talked about her brother and she had mentioned how she was doing some of this for him. But until that moment, I don't think you fully realize. I mean, she left her brother with Doc to go move to New York City. And so you're sort of like, how much did you really care about him? And then she loses him and you really see that front and center.
Yeah, I think the 19 reframing is also really helpful. It kind of helps paint that timeline.
Yeah.
And like, Audrey Hepburn is not 19 in
No.
this movie. I mean,
I couldn't tell how old she was supposed to be, but I knew she was definitely older than 19.
It's 61. I mean, I think by this time she's in her 30s, but still playing someone in her 20s,
Yeah.
maybe. I think. So, you know, it just reads a little differently. Like someone in her 30s probably should have left her brother. So someone who's 19, like leave him behind. It's time. But like someone who's 19, like you could see how that's a little different, especially since like she's already clearly been gone a while. We know the other time parameter that we have is her and her brother ran away from an abusive home at the age of 14.
Yeah.
So not that much time has really passed if she's only supposed to be 19 years old.
Yeah.
Probably, well, maybe 3 years or something has probably been what's actually been the case. I think that really changes things. I think it was a very dramatic performance. Like Casey didn't realize she had lost her brother.
Oh, was he multitasking?
Because he was cooking it. He was multitasking, and he was like, "This is ridiculous." And I was like, "She lost her brother,
you a-hole."
And he was like, immediately and for many reasons, was like, "Oh no, it's a perfect reaction."
It was like, if you know, you know.
Exactly. Well, and
yeah.
we all have ways of knowing. And
it was
what that reaction might be like.
Emotional.
It's very good. Yes. It's a very good acting scene.
It got
Especially for the 60s, because the 60s was all about overacting.
Yeah.
So not all, but there was still certainly that element at play in the acting style. So for me, it's Holly and Fred's day out together. This just seemed like a fun day. They go to Tiffany's. I love the sales associate there.
Yes.
Who wants to help them, and they're being so ridiculous. Because let me be clear, they're being ridiculous, but also I like this energy is something I understand. When you're in like a really good mood, you're on a different vibration with a friend, but you're going into spaces they ain't on the same vibration,
Yeah.
And it does carry like a different, like if you're in like a really giggly place, sometimes you're in the other energy and the giggly people come in.
Yeah.
And I try and remind myself, you've been there,
Yeah.
Even when you want to, I don't know, strangle them. So there was something about this that I thought was just so weirdly authentic. I loved Fred signing his book at the public library. Although, to be clear, I also really understand the librarian, and I wanted to smack them around. So, like, I can be both at the same time, Nikki.
I hear you.
We can hold all these people in our hearts. It is his book. He wrote it. I think he should be able to sign it. So I understand both sides, but I thought that was fun, and like I also love that they were like kind of exposing each other to their favorite things.
Yeah.
And then of course they go to the Five and Dime and steal the masks, which I don't approve of, but the scene was fun and I thought the music was fun, and we definitely did feel in the 60s then.
Yeah.
It felt very like Mod Squatty, like I don't know, something was going on there.
The way they cut the scenes, the different vignettes together, the first person almost sort of filming of it all. Yeah. It felt very 60s. I think, and that goes back to the pacing for me. I feel like that's where I finally felt like, okay, I can see these people care about each other, but it happened so late in the movie.
Yeah. You're right. The pacing is definitely interesting, but like I usually struggle all the time with pacing in older movies now because And we've talked about this before in different movie reviews that we've done of movies that got a little age on them. Deliverance, for instance. That is a very slow movie, like compared to an action movie, suspense movie today.
Yeah.
And
I'd have to watch it on 1.5 speed.
Yeah, they have data that shows like you basically get like a big action sequence like every 20 seconds or something. It's something crazy. And it used to be like every 12 minutes.
We just don't have the attention span anymore.
We don't.
I can't stick with it.
So much smarter now is what's happening.
Is that what it is?
What's your final moment?
There was the part at the sort of toward the end when Holly and Fred have their arguments. And she says, here, take it. You should be used to taking money from ladies by now. This is where she's sort of judging him for his lifestyle choices, but obviously it's coming from a place of hurt and her projecting on him. But that was just such a sick burn from her. And you could feel in that moment his heart being a little broken by that. And she regretted it immediately, but they both sort of stuck with it and went their separate ways. And I thought that was a pretty memorable moment in the storyline because it takes us in sort of a different direction for a little while.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely fair. It's so weird. I didn't read it as I totally see it now, but like, is that projection?
Yeah.
I like almost as like I kind of it's like a little bit of jealousy there too.
Yeah, there's definitely jealousy.
Case, yeah, when you're like into someone.
Yeah.
So mine is the last scene. It's trite but true. This is my final memorable moment. I mean, it's there, like you get like all these things that are these hallmarks of a Hollywood movie, and they all happen very rapid pace, right? We get like a final blow up between the two of them. Like they're like navigating they're two broken people trying to navigate feelings, which is honestly quite a fair amount of relationships in the world. So this isn't unusual, but that final blow up between them, then they make up, her running in the rain to look for Kat, like the kiss. We can talk about that kiss in the chemistry portion, but very Hollywood, very dramatic. It's like, I think that's probably one of the most iconic scenes in all of movie history. So it's just hard to not think about it. And then I will tell you that Casey's reaction in the moment was like, why is she being so mean to the cat? And I
had a similar question. Yeah,
I have to say I agree. I think the cat actually is also a thing that happens in the book. I don't know if she gets it back, though, to be clear. I don't think she does.
She doesn't deserve it back.
I guess not. Poor cat. Let's talk about these characters, shall we? We've been doing quite a bit of it, so we may not have anything left. I'm not sure, but let's talk about Holly Golightly. What you've hinted, but what did you think of our gal?
Okay,
it could also be character, Audrey's performance, both.
Oh, okay. So I will say that the performance, I mean, like I said, she's very interesting to watch. I want to use the word charming, but she's not quite charming. She's just quirky in a way you want to know what she's going to do next.
I called her intoxicating.
Yeah, I think that's a fair word.
Like I need to know where she's going next. I think that she is a very fun, full of life and interesting character.
However, I see where Carrie Bradshaw gets it. Like the selfishness, so I feel like they tried to frame her as a survivor, right? So she and her brother escaped this very difficult situation, but then she finds this person who takes her in and provides a good life to her. So she escapes and runs to New York or Hollywood, maybe both. I got a little confused in there.
I think it's Hollywood, then New York. She
began to use people for money. She's also weirdly immature. Like she's very pixie-like and very, again, the word quirky. Like she just says and does things like that just feel immature. Doc clearly loved her. And I think there's a whole nother discussion to have about a full-grown man marrying a girl at 14. Whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
Whole nother discussion. But that wasn't why she left him.
Yeah.
So that's confusing to me. She was unkind to Paul. I really appreciated in one part in the movie. He's like, my name is not and it has never been Fred. I also thought that was weird. Like, why do you just keep calling this man a name that's not his? Because he reminds me of my brother. But that's just disrespectful.
I think it's weird.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yes. Especially as she starts to fall in love with him.
Yeah. Switch to Paul.
She also said wearing diamonds under the age of 40 is tacky. That's just downright offensive. That's a big judgment on her part, which I think is rude.
Yeah. I think it was just weird. I just never heard that before. I think to me that almost sounds like someone who grew up in a very small Texas area and doesn't really know. I don't know. Like,
so then maybe my last thing that I just was a little annoyed about, she didn't know she'd never been to a library before. She didn't know about cards to pull your book.
That's right. But she's 19.
Not in this movie. She is not 19.
Well, that's
she
true.
is not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think
okay.
So what made that so bad to me is he said, why don't we spend a day showing each other the things that we've never done before or something? And she goes, there's not much I haven't done. She hadn't been to a library. That is like the most basic thing to do.
Well, yeah. So I would say too, if we're on this train, my thing with her was that, is she worldly or is she not? Because
that's how I feel about Carrie Bradshaw.
Yeah, that's fair. They're good comps for each other. This thing, like, she's super worldly. She's gone through all of these things, but she doesn't understand the Sal thing. What's at Sing Sing?
Sally Tomato.
That her, great name, by the way. I actually think I would like to change my name to Sally. It's the only way that I will accept Sally is if Tomato is at the end.
Okay, Sally Tomato.
That's pretty good.
Salamander. That's what I heard you say anyway.
Eventually, this is going to change into salamander.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Salamander.
What I couldn't figure out is if she's playing dumb or naive.
Yeah.
Or if like this is, or if she's playing dumb or she really is naive. So I wasn't really sure about that. I think in terms of, for like her, like, okay, I wanted to share this. I read somewhere, and I have used the term kooky now, but that the studio was using the term kooky as like a substitute for prostitute, which I thought was very interesting.
What?
Okay. 60s were a weird time.
What a weird time.
But I have a note here that says, first of all, sure, that's the same. But actually, what I was going to say and what I think really works for me in her character is that kookiness. Like, I really thought that the kookiness was maybe the most beautiful part of her character. And I mean, like, this really random stuff. Like, she opens up her fridge and there's a shot in there of a pair of shoes. And then, like, Fred's, like, looking around the room and she has, like, a fruit basket and there's, like, another shoe in there. Like, it's, like, that kind of randomness. Like, and it could be that she's just trying to be an interesting person, or maybe she really is an interesting person. Like, we don't actually get to know that because she is, like, at the same time, a very well and very underdrawn character, in my opinion. And it might be because it's a man writing a woman. I'm just going to throw that out there. There does seem to feel to be a little bit of that energy on here, especially not only is it being written by a man, but it's written by a man who is writing through a male lens. So it's like a double male lens, and I'm just going to say I think that's interesting. And then we have a male director as well, so, for the movie version. But there's just something like about her that I think is so fun, whether it's like the eye mask or the cigarette holder, like everything is like a detail, a crisp detail. Like, she really draws you into her world, and that's what I think is good. She's also a very layered character, you know. I was so curious to see how you were going to sum up this movie because I was like trying to and I couldn't. I like literally couldn't. I was getting lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
Because I think all this stuff about Doc is very important.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's just the things that you're supposed to take away without them ever actually telling you. So again, I come back to exposition. I read a few different reviews and was kind of putting them together. And one of them said, like, she's prone to moments of depression or whatever. Almost like implying maybe sort of a bipolarity happening.
Okay.
But they never actually say that. I think in the movie, the only time you really see, I mean, obviously she loses her brother. To me, that's not a wacky response. She had a normal response to losing someone that meant a lot to her. But she talks about the Mad Reds, which are deeper than the blues or whatever. Was it Mad Reds? Is that right?
Yeah.
Deeper than the blues. She talks about that and how sometimes she gets that. And so you kind of get this sense that she rides a really high until she hits a really low. So you can kind of piece together that she's a complicated character, but I don't know that we saw enough of that to really be able to drive that home. And when I read it in the reviews, I was like, that is not how I would have described her based on what I saw.
Well, I want to say this because, first of all, I see your perspective and I agree with it. There is this mode that a lot of the actions that she's taking are like selfishly driven. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I was thinking about is I was thinking about all of these moves, right? First, she runs away from her abusive home. Then she runs into the arms of a much older man. Gross. And that, like, there is real... That is a very big... That man is 60 years old if he is a day. And she was 14. That is disgusting.
That was a weird choice.
So I'm like, there's all kinds of reasons I would have ran from that. But like, so then she runs from that, right, into Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't work out. She runs from that. She runs to New York. Then at the end, she is trying to run again. And that's the first time that she isn't running. But to me, like I'm thinking like, Runaway Bride energy a little bit here, but like not funny. But like Runaway Bride wasn't really funny. That lady was really going through something.
Oh yeah, no, that was sad.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there is this like loss of self that maybe like Truman Capote wasn't even necessarily articulating, but like he might be just good at like following a character and like a character arc. And someone who's been through a trauma and abused, like they're going to that there's many ways to respond. And one of those responses is when something doesn't feel right, you get the hell out of there. And so I feel that energy on her as well.
And she said at one point, I don't even know who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. I also really like this quote. She says, never love a wild thing. You can't give your heart to a wild thing. The more you do, the stronger they get until they're strong enough to run into the woods or fly into a tree, then a taller tree, than the sky. So, I mean, then that's giving like Why the Caged Bird Sings a little bit.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Carrie Bradshaw.
and well, it would have started like that. I got to wondering.
What happens?
That's the country. That's the country version. Excuse me.
I got to wondering.
That's my version. How about anything else you want to say about Holly, or should we move on to Paul Fred?
I think we can move on to Paul Fred.
Okay. What'd you think about Paul Fred?
I think he was another not particularly likable character, but I didn't find him as unlikable in a lot of instances as I did Holly. But I also felt like he was very underdrawn, to use the language you just used. Like we just didn't really ever get to know very much about him. I think I missed maybe at first that he was a writer. And I think I missed this because I had maybe read the plot, like a description of the plot before I watched the movie. And they said like Fred, who spends days writing books on a typewriter without ribbon in it. And when I first saw it, like I just thought he was also going to be like Holly Golightly quirky. And he wasn't. He wasn't quirky in that same way, but there was something about, again, the description of his character, the build out of his character that was missing for me. Yeah. And I feel like there was just a lot we didn't get to know about him. But I found him interesting in a similar way I found Holly interesting. Like I wanted to know more about both of them.
Yeah, I agree. It was my very first like thing that I had noted here is like we just don't learn a lot about him. There's just these like small details we know that there's like so much more to investigate, to your point of like I would have liked to have known more, like why was he a kept man? Being a writer's hard. If that was the lucrative for everyone, I would not have my day job.
Right.
So here we are. But actually, like to go back to the Sex and the City of it, he was giving me a little Burger energy. I had a novel, but here's the 9 copies. Although he seemed to be handling it better than Burger. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Well, he had money.
Right. What I will tell you that I liked about this, it's 1961. This is a movie that was more interested in the female character than the male character.
Mm-hmm.
Just different.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's really quite singular. Sometimes it feels like even for today, but especially then. Or like not to have like equal interest, or I don't know. Like this movie, even the poster, like if you go and look at Pretty Woman, that ain't Richard Gere's movie. That's Julia Roberts' movie. But her and her 9-foot legs have to share that front cover with Richard Gere. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, it is mainly like Audrey is in the forefront. Mm-hmm. Holly Golightly is in the forefront. So there's something about that I was like thinking of that just, I don't know.
I also, on that note, I will say it was also interesting that they made the choice to make them both get their money from people of the opposite sex, because they could have easily made that her thing and then made him judgmental of that life choice of hers, but they were on sort of equal footing in that way.
Look at me and you. Look at
Same
this.
page
Look
city,
at this.
baby.
Let me tell you where I'm going next, okay? I think it's kind of perfect. I think he had to live an atypical lifestyle. Truman Capote has said that she's actually meant to be, because I don't know if you read this in your goings about here, but she's really supposed to be more like a geisha than a sex worker. For those who don't know what I mean by that, I mean she didn't really have sex for money. A better comp, I think, that might make more sense for people who aren't like really like swirled around in the world of geisha artistry, okay? It's like a high class escort. So she's paid to spend time together, or men do things for her or take care of things for her in exchange for her company. Having sex with a man is her choice. It's not for compensation. Like this is just a man she wants to sleep with, you know? So it is different than like just your... not that any sex worker is run of the mill. I don't want to say that, but you know what I mean. Your traditional sex worker. Mm-hmm. So I think the movie insinuates something different than what Capote had in mind, who is, I think, based on someone he actually did know. But either way, even today, but certainly then like that lifestyle, I don't think is something that a heterosexual man could handle. Mm-hmm. Okay. So like look at the guy from Brazil. He was never going to take her on as a serious, formalized girlfriend or partner. Like the movie hints at that over and over again. And one of the chief reasons, besides the fact that he comes from like some kind of highfalutin family, is like she would never be a quote appropriate choice. Yeah. Fred did not care. He loved her because he loved her, and he understood because he had been there. And I think he really appreciated her quirkiness.
Yeah.
So Fred Paul, we don't know that much about him, but maybe he was progressive. Maybe.
He seemed nice enough.
I'd have had to read his book, I guess. So let's get to this question of chemistry. We've been dancing around it, not very well, dancing in it, on it. Is there anything, like you've already said it, you don't think they have chemistry. Is there anything that like jumped out at you that you want to share now about that?
So you made a good point earlier about the way he looked at her when she was performing that song on the balcony. That was probably the first time I really felt like there was anything really real there. Like the first time she meets him, she's like crawling through his window. He's sleeping shirtless, maybe naked. I wasn't sure. But like just he seemed so unsurprised by her being there. He seemed so bothered by it. Like he wasn't like, oh my God, this woman's in my room. He was just like, whatever. Yeah, let me make you a drink. Like it didn't feel like anything. So it took a really long time. By the time they finally go out on their day on the town, I felt like maybe they like each other. To that point, I didn't even feel like they liked each other that much. She liked him as much as she liked anybody else in her orbit.
Yeah, I think it was, for me, I think the reading is a little less clear on her. For me, with him and the looks, like I felt like the entire movie, he seemed very intrigued by her. And I think
he was thinking she'd make an interesting book.
Well, that's a good point, and I don't disagree with that at all. But like, so it could have been a character study, but to me, it looked like something like this is someone I want to get to know. Was the look that was on his face. I think their chemistry. I think it was. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it got better as the movie went on.
Yeah.
it's the way that they look at each other. It's when he catches her singing Moon River on the balcony. It's when they're talking right after they make up and she says something about she'd marry him in a heartbeat if he had money. He would do the same with her, is what he said. And then she says, good thing neither of us are rich. And then they like longingly like lock eyes in this way that is truly like probably one of the better like chemistry moments of the entire movie. And the kiss after the 5 and dime masks was pretty good. The kiss at the end of the movie, in my opinion, was a complete fail. It looked incredibly forced. Yeah.
Oh.
She looked like, and it could be like how much the disparity in height at the moment or something. But there are some times when a really tall man is kissing a woman, it looks like forced.
Oh.
In their defense, they were probably having water dumped on their heads.
Yes.
Like literal water just dumped from buckets up above them. Yeah, for like probably hours before then. And they had probably kissed like 8 million times. But for whatever reason, the one kiss that really should work and still the entire thing, and this is your last moment in the movie, it was the first time I watched this movie and been like, that kiss was bad.
Oh. I don't remember thinking it was bad, but maybe I need to rewatch it. I won't. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I won't. I'll take your word for it.
So, so this category we've already touched on a little bit too, but I just wanted to know for like aging well, what did, what didn't. I think unless you want to talk about the Mickey Rooney thing was the number one thing on my list. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. Like, but this is like, I want to be very clear. This is blatant yellow face. It's awful. The director has said as much. Rooney has said as much. We don't condone it. We don't like it. I think we can move on, but let me know if you have other thoughts.
No, that's good. The other thing I was going to add in this section was just all the smoking. At one point, she says she'd give up smoking for the, I think it was the Brazilian man. I think she was like, I'd even give up smoking for him. It just felt very Carrie coded because we had that whole conversation about her smoking. I just couldn't ignore that.
I think you've got like the comp. Like it's a really spot on comp, honestly. Like they have incredibly similar energy, and Carrie was quite a party girl, to be honest. You know,
yeah.
And
she would have enjoyed being a kept woman.
You didn't see the episode where she accidentally gets paid for sex, but it did happen one time.
Well, Audrey
and
Hepburn
I think he might have been Brazilian.
Holly Golightly did not get paid for sex. She got paid to give her time.
Her time.
I wasn't actually clear on that, so I'm glad you said that. I was not clear on if going into the coat room, is that what they said, was code for. Isn't that what they said?
I think so.
Spending time in the coat room? I wasn't sure if that was like a code.
Awful. Okay, I think it is. Well, so my thing is like, again, like this is that lost in translation thing, right? So Truman Capote is like, no, that's not what she's meant to be.
Yeah.
Then Hollywood gets a hold of it.
Right.
They're like, yeah. But they're like, we can't say anything about what it really is.
Yeah.
And then 60 years later, you're confused.
And now I don't even know
what the hell is happening.
Can you just say it? Just say it. Is she or isn't she? Right. Yeah. I mean, it's fine either way. It was just confusing and left a little bit ambiguous. She did talk a lot about rats and super rats. And she like did leave that one woman? That one man who was banging on her door to get in and was just like, we spent the whole night together. Don't you want to spend a little more time with me? So maybe that was supposed to make it a little more black and white, that she was like an escort. But I don't know. She kept saying coat room.
60s black and white.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. To the point about smoking and just like our typical run on like, these are things that don't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's mainly where I took these, which was like typewriters and landlines, and not just any landline, like a for real rotary phone, not like a rotary phone, like isn't this fun throwback rotary phone, but like an honest to God rotary phone.
Did you notice?
A suitcase?
Yeah.
I don't know what was happening there.
Did you notice that the agent in Hollywood had a speakerphone?
And it was a big deal, right?
Yeah. He called it something specific, but it took me a minute to realize that's what was happening.
Right. And even Casey mentioned something about that. Like he
weird.
Specifically called it out. Yeah. The old school card catalog at the library.
Yeah.
Like that's something you don't see anymore. We are old enough that we got taught how to use that.
Yep.
So that's cool. The telephone dial, like having or buying one. That's the thing. And then the Diners Club card. RIP Diners Club. But for me, actually, the ending is something that I'm not saying it did or didn't age well. I'm just saying I think today there's a better chance that if someone in a more like offbeat Hollywood way got a hold of this movie, they would do something that more closely aligned with the book. Like, and they don't end up together. In fact, Holly's whereabouts remain mysterious. I'm not saying we don't get like the Hollywood endings still in movies. We certainly do. But there are also like braver screenwriters, directors, and producers who I think are willing to go there in a way. So there's a part of me that like, I don't want anyone to remake this. And I don't think anybody's ever dumb enough to touch this movie. But I would be curious to see the screenplay and how they would like handle it today. Let's talk about the ending. Are we thinking? Well, actually, I don't know because I know you're not like maybe you weren't a fan, but the ending, did it work for you? Did it not work?
Oh yeah, I mean it's fine. That's the way I like my romantic comedies to end. Like I want them to end up together. It feels good to me. I will say I'm again thinking about ambiguity. I'm still not sure she loved him. Like her something.
Is she capable of love?
Yeah, something in the ending just didn't feel quite right to me. Like she was kind of not settling, but feeling like maybe I should give this a try because I haven't been successful otherwise or something. Not like a resounding, I'm in love with this man.
Yeah, I think that's a fair interpretation.
And maybe the kiss at the end didn't work for that reason. But I was so miffed at her for sending Kat like off into the world by himself that it was really hard for me to not be super excited about the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing is to your point about pacing. We spend so much time in all these other places, and then that whole like the whole bit at the end, like basically from the time we like randomly find out she's engaged.
Yeah.
Through the end, it's like a really big speed up.
Yeah.
And so we got a lot that we were having to process like on the fly.
Yes.
After, to your point, we spent half of this movie watching that lady cry in the mirror.
Half the movie. It was just such a long scene.
She's just crying, you know? So, okay, here's my take. So the young me loved the ending. I think I resonated with her fear of being caged. You know, what can I say? I loved a broken woman as a heroine. Okay, that just worked for me. But, you know, being a little older, a little wiser, her choices land differently for me now. I mean, this was mine, okay, before hearing your take on it. Where I saw her as a Carrie Bradshaw was that self-sabotage piece. She's like a seeker in life, but in an unhealthy way. The thing with the cat always made me sad, but like now it's just like pissing me off. So, like that's like just a whole different level. I was like, what did the cat do?
What did he do except live with you and bring you comfort?
Exactly. It's a nice little tabby. I find myself identifying more with Paul now at the end of the movie. And okay, so here's what he told. Like, I think it's worth saying what he said to her at the end. You know what's wrong with you, Miss Whoever you are? You're chicken. You've got no guts. You're afraid to stick out your chin and say, okay, life's a fact. People do fall in love. People do belong to each other because that's the only chance anybody's got for real happiness. You call yourself a free spirit, a wild thing, and you're terrified somebody's going to stick you in a cage. Well, baby, this all sounds very 60s to me, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, baby, you're already in that cage. You dig? Anyways, he said, you built it yourself, and it's not bounded in the west by Tulip, Texas, or in the east by Somaliland. It's wherever you go, because no matter where you run, you just end up running into yourself. I thought that was pretty spot on.
It's hard to say that she is not in a cage when her entire livelihood depends on the whims of random men. So, like, does he want you in a coat closet today? Does he want you at a museum opening? You don't get to choose.
Well, and I will tell you what didn't land for me. There was some sort of conversation about, like, him, like her belonging to him and it being okay to belong to one another. And dang it, listen to what she's been through.
Yeah.
She feels like she's inside her trauma again because you're like, oh, let's belong to each other.
Yeah.
I've been belonging to some man my whole life.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that anymore. But to your point, like she she keeps tripping and falling into the same crap over and over again. But I mean, this may have only been a 90-page novella, but there's a lot to unpack here.
There's a lot. It is a lot. And that's where I wish maybe we could have, rather than romantic comedying it, I think the movie they would make today is the darker version. It is the true, because we can say the things we couldn't say then, and we can explore trauma in a way they definitely couldn't then. It just wouldn't feel the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Because, like, they didn't even know how, like, well, they would have called it hooker then, or a prostitute, not a sex worker. But they didn't even have the ability because of the Hays codes or whatever to say that on in a movie. So there's, like, that limitation. But, like, nobody was talking about getting inside your trauma. That was just Tuesday, you know?
Right.
That's why we've got generations of people who think that our generation is weak.
He said, in what you just read, he said, life's a fact. That is not what I was expecting him to say. I thought, like today would be like, life sucks. It's hard. And he was like, life's a fact. And I was like, well, that's a way to say it.
Right. I'm like, I almost thought I wrote it down wrong.
No.
I was like, I don't even know what the hell
that's what
means.
He said. Life's a fact.
I rarely feel like life's a fact. Maybe like a kick in the crotch. Okay. How about some trivia?
Hit me.
Okay. So this is actually, I have to tell you that something here that says there's a ton of trivia behind this one. I pulled fill in the blank to share.
Let's find out how many you pulled to share.
I tried to limit it, if that helps. So to what you were hinting around earlier, Audrey Hepburn was the fourth choice behind Marilyn Monroe, Shirley MacLaine, and Kim Novak to play the role of Holly Golightly.
Marilyn Monroe was the one I was thinking of.
Yes, I assume so. And because that is who Truman Capote wanted to play the part. In fact, he did not want Audrey Hepburn to play the part and reportedly said it was, quote, the most miscast film he'd ever seen. And I think he stood by that. He never changed his mind.
Did he hate Audrey Hepburn?
I just don't think he thought she was right for the role. Probably especially since we know that his book was so much grittier. I think that he just thought she was way soft for that role.
I'm struggling to imagine Shirley MacLaine.
Oh.
She brings a different energy too.
Well, she's also Weezer to you. I doubt you've ever seen a movie with her where she's playing like a femme fatale.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just thinking she's more, I mean, again, she would be gritty. She delivers a different performance. I don't think you get the quirkiness with her.
Yeah, maybe. I think although I would argue that Weezer is quite quirky. But
No. Weezer's right. Everybody else is annoying.
Should we that's the t-shirt that we need?
Weezer was right.
And also something about how the older I get, the more that I'm like, was the witch in Hansel and Gretel so wrong?
Was she so wrong? I don't know.
Did she have good points?
Yeah. They invaded her piece.
Exactly. That's all that we're trying to say here. So apparently George Papard didn't get along well with the director, so Blake Edwards or Audrey Hepburn.
Oh.
I think that eventually, she does get along. He and Audrey make up or whatever, but there was tension on the set. I think he just had and I was actually watching some special features on the DVD that I have, and the decorator, whoever played the decorator, I'm sorry, I forget her name, but she was saying that I guess she came up in acting school with him and was hinting in a very gentle way that he may have been a very specific person in real life who had very specific thoughts on how his character should be played, no matter what anyone else thought. So I just think that made for a rough go. Givenchy, as we've already talked about, designed Holly's famous little black dress, and it was auctioned off in 2006 at Christie's for over $900,000. We talked about this too, but this was their fourth movie collaboration. Also, she wore the same dress the whole time, pretty much the same little black dress.
Oh, in all the movies?
No, in Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's on repeat and just has different accessories with it.
Oh, okay.
And that was done to show that she was stylish, but not rich.
Mm.
Oh, I would say, but she's in a designer dress, so she's maybe a little something. Mm-hmm. And then the party scene. So I told you I would come back with trivia on that. This took 6 days to film on a Paramount soundstage.
Good grief.
The extras who played the guests were all friends of the director, so Blake Edwards. When they're drinking, that was real champagne. They also brought in and consumed, I don't know if they consumed, but they brought in 120 gallons of soft drinks, 60 cartons of cigarettes. There were hot dogs, cold cuts, chips, dips, and sandwiches, and a smoker used by a beekeeper who was brought in to create enough smoke because I guess 60 cartons of cigarettes wouldn't do the trick.
Just wasn't enough.
Anyway, so I mean, I think people were actually quite a little toasty on that set.
It seems like it.
To say. Yes. Moon River, you already talked about that, but I just want to say the thing that about Moon River that I didn't realize is that it was original to the movie.
Yeah.
I thought it had been written before, like one of the classic standards, and then had been redone for the movie. So that was actually new information for me. It was almost cut from the film, and as Hollywood lore has it, Hepburn told the powers that be, quote, over her dead body. Now,
or something worse.
I read other accounts that said that it was actually a producer who said that. But someone somewhere had said something along those lines to make sure that it did stay in the movie. And for her to even say that would have been quite out of the ordinary for her, because I do think that she was kind of a gentle person in real life.
Did you read that the song was inspired by one of the co-writers' upbringing in Savannah, Georgia?
No.
Yeah, so when he talks about Huckleberry, it's from his youth in Savannah.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, what I had read was something like they had to write it all in one octave that she could hit or whatever. I actually think her voice is quite good, but she just doesn't, it sounds like she probably didn't have a lot of range.
Yeah.
And so they had to write around that or compose around that, I guess. And then the other thing was, I guess Johnny Mercer was like, what am I supposed to write about this lady out on the balcony? Like there was a lot of that energy around it, I guess. So he figured it out. So
it's good. I like it.
Still a famous song. Truman Capote does make a cameo appearance. I'm going to be honest, I didn't go back to see, but apparently he's standing outside of Tiffany's as he passes by Holly and Paul. So there you go. The yellow diamond that they look at in the case at Tiffany's, this is a replica of what is a real diamond known as the Tiffany diamond. Did you look into any of this at all? All right, so this is one of the most famous pieces of jewelry in the world. It is a cushion-shaped, brilliant cut yellow diamond weighing in at 128.54 carats. And it is estimated to be worth over $30 million.
My gosh.
It was discovered in South Africa in 1877. And this is all about this diamond is my very last fact, by the way, or trivia point. It's only been worn by 4 women. Mary Whitehouse, who's Mary Whitehouse? In case you need to know, she is a socialite who wore the Tiffany diamond necklace to the 1957 Tiffany Ball in Newport, Rhode Island, to mark the first public appearance of the famous diamond, which was newly mounted for the event. I think when they mined it, it was twice that size.
Good grief.
He's crazy. Audrey Hepburn is the second person. So I'm sure you noticed that she was never wearing a giant yellow diamond in the movie, so she does wear it though, famously for the promo tour.
Sure. That makes sense.
2 other women have worn it. 2 of which are of our era and near our age. Do you want to take a guess at who those women are? You don't have to, but if you go into it.
The lady that played Rose from Titanic.
Oh, that's a very wonderful guess. Kate Winslet? But no, really close to our age. I mean, Kate Winslet is not so far off from our age, but.
You're going to say it, and it's going to make me so angry. Anne Hathaway?
Maybe. Oh, these are wonderful guesses. And wouldn't you love to see that on the Devil Wears Prada 2 tour?
Go ahead.
Okay, Lady Gaga at the 2019 Academy Awards when she receives the Oscar for, good Lord, It's a remake, like the fourth one. Sorry,
with Bradley Cooper. Yeah,
and then
not with
Beyonce.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper.
Okay, and Beyonce.
Mhm.
Okay,
In a Tiffany campaign from 2021.
sure.
So, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm not sure anybody wears it as well as Audrey. I saw all of them. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And it's not like Beyonce or Lady Gaga are not attractive women. I don't remember what Mary looks like. So, it was my first foray with Mary. But that's my last trivia point. I did it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you ready to take a break? She put her sleeping
It's
mask.
actually why I wore the mask.
She put her eye mask on.
Straight into a nap.
She's going to take a nap. So we're going to take an actual official Sweet Tea and TV break. We're going to come back in the fall at some point to be confirmed. First, we have to conceptualize our next season, and then we have to record some of it. So it'll happen. Fallish. Selena's favorite season.
Such a good time.
It is.
And a perfect time for Gilmore Girls. You can't go out any other time for Gilmore Girls.
But we will hopefully pop back in over the summer with a couple of other little fun things here and there. We've kind of discussed a couple of things, and now it'll just be about making it happen. We'll see what happens. But so as we've already said, yeah, we're going to head to Stars Hollow. We're going to talk about Gilmore Girls. It's a rewatch for both of us. So this will not be a first watch for either one of us, but it will be fun to revisit it and to compare our notes on it from the different times we've watched it. Huh?
Yeah, not a sixth watch.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Every fall, it's like as soon as there's like a brief crisp in the air, I'm like, it's Gilmore Girls time. Gilmore Girls time.
I love the Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls. If anybody is tuning into Sweet Tea and TV for the very first time with this episode, you can watch a lot of Designing Women content, which we covered for our first 7 seasons. You can watch Golden Girls, which we covered for our 8th season. And then Sex and the City was our 9th season. We have lots of movie reviews, book club episodes, a lot of extra sugars where we dive into something that kind of was inspired by our main episode. And then apparently some other random things that we've watched along the way for extra sugar that I had completely forgotten was extra sugar fare. In the meantime, we'd love everyone to follow along with us and engage. We're on Instagram and Facebook at Sweet Tea and TV, TikTok at Sweet Tea TV Pod. We're on YouTube at Sweet Tea TV 7371. You can email us at sweetteattvpod@gmail.com, and our website is www.sweetteatv.com. There are several ways to support the show. You can tell your family and friends about us, rate or review the podcast wherever you listen, and then you can visit the Support Us page on our website for other ways to support us. You want to say thank you, Salina?
I do. My mind went blank. I was like going through every old sign off that we have, and and then my mind just went. Okay. I mean, it's just incredible. Lovely, Nikki.
Thank you.
I was thinking about it this morning as I was like peeling my eyes open, trying so hard. The fact is that we just hit our 5th year of doing this. Back in, we started recording in March. It was a rough go that first year, so our first episode didn't come out until like 2 months later. But
it took me that whole time to edit that first episode.
Yes. And so I think the first episode we had back in 2021 was right around Mother's Day. We are right around Mother's Day again. There's just so much beautiful symmetry. So much has changed. So much has stayed the same, just like life does. And that I continue to be both lifted and flabbergasted by when people reach out and that they care about what these 2 definitely middle-aged women have to say. When we started, we weren't.
Nearly.
When we started, we were in the 30s.
So young.
But that I've just enjoyed this wild ride, and thank you everyone who tunes in for tuning in, whether it's for half an episode or 1 minute, or you've gone on this whole journey with us, and some people have, crazily enough. Our friends who have tuned in and family, because I actually have to say that maybe that's what I've learned along the way is that might be the greatest compliment of all.
Yeah.
I never really would have thought that. I thought that would have been the low hanging fruit, but it turns out that that's the highest fruit in the branches.
It is kind of groundbreaking when someone that you love says, "Oh, I was listening to your episode this week," and you're like, "You were?"
Or someone you work with.
It's crazy.
And we've had those too. And so just so much love to everyone. And honestly, even the people who have come in and made asinine comments. So much love to you too.
Thank you for driving our engagement. Too.
That's right. And you know what? Because honestly, some of the crappy comments I've gotten on social media, you know what that's taught me? How to have a backbone and be, and so I appreciate that too. There's lessons to mine from everything. So
it's true.
What a beautiful experience this has been.
It's true. I agree. Check.
Do you know what my favorite part about Gilmore Girls is going to be? We are going. Oh, you really are going to?
I was going to guess picking who Rory should have ended up with.
Oh yeah, I could barely care about that.
Oh, okay.
We are going to
talking about food.
You're closer.
Coffee.
That's right.
Coffee.
We're going to consume so much coffee. It's going to be insane.
Epic. It'll be very fun.
So much.
It'll be very fun. Thank you, Salina, for everything. You know, we're up at over 290 episodes we've done of this show.
Crazy.
And we used to combine Extra Sugar with the main episode. We didn't used to split it out. So that is a lot of content.
Yeah, for 4 seasons, maybe.
We've spent a lot of time together.
Yep.
Thank you for introducing me to Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Being a friend. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for introducing me to Howard the Duck.
You're welcome. And Captain Ron.
At least Captain Ron was okay.
No, it wasn't okay. It was good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Salina. Love you. Bye.
Thank you, Nikki. All right. Bye.